because Africa is good anytime. Really and truly it is. There's never a bad time to go to Africa, and there's always somewhere in Africa that is truly spectacular at that time. But really, to answer your question properly, it's quite interesting because it pretty much in the areas of Africa, in the 17 countries that we cover in Eastern, Central, and Southern, we can pretty much split it into two. So for South Africa, which then I would move on up to include Southern Africa, i.e. Botswana, Namibia, into Mozambique and so on. High season is from mid-August until the beginning of November. That's also the dry season. So, of course, most people, when they want to travel, they want to go to Europe in the summer because they think it's going to be dry and it rains 10% or 20% or 90% of the time. Not so in Africa. If you go in the dry season, it will be dry. It also in September and October can get quite hot, though not unbearably hot like you would get in the northern, like in the deserts of the Sahara or something like that, because we're at a 6,000 foot elevation generally, so there is always that as well. So that is the peak of the season. My personal pick for Southern Africa is May. That is because first and foremost the temperatures are spectacular. In Cape Town in the daytime temperatures are going to be somewhere right around about 72 to 75 perhaps. Nighttime temperatures will be down in the mid 50s, could touch 50, so a little light sweater or something would definitely be appropriate to have. And then once you get out onto the safari portion in the bush, daytime temperatures are going to be in that mid to high 70s, 78, perhaps touching 80. And nighttime temperatures are going to be in the mid to lower 60s. Now, the exception to that is very, very early in the morning, really right around, because morning game drives do start very early. We're going to be calling at 5:30 in the morning. You do not have to go on the game drive. And if you tell us the night before that you want to sleep in, nobody will call you at 5:30 and rouse you. But I always say to everybody, the morning you do not go on the game drive is the morning that they will see the kill or some amazing sight or whatever, and you will regret it for the rest of your life. So go on all the game drives because you never know what you're going to see. So that 5:30, it can be quite chilly. And I love this. I'm a huge, huge believer in outdoor showers in Africa. All the lodges that we work with, they'll have an outdoor and an indoor shower. And the indoor will be all nice and glass and spa-like, but the outdoor one will be very comfortable too. But it's great to go out there, turn that hot water on in the cold morning, and it's just you and the monkeys watching you take your shower out there. It's just really cool. It's fantastic. I absolutely love it. And it's very invigorating. And then you go off, and by 6, we're over at the front of the lodge, and we have a cup of coffee and a muffin or something, and then we get on the vehicle by 6:15, and away we go. So at that time in the morning, it is possible in May for it still to potentially be in the high 40s, and so it can be chilly depending on where you're from. It can be quite chilly, but all of the lodges, when it's that time of year, will put a blanket on the seat, so you can wrap yourself in the blanket. And many lodges actually go one step further, and they put a hot water bottle inside the blanket for you. So you're wrapped in the blanket. So I tell everybody still, you go with your shorts, or your biggest friend on safari are going to be those pants where the legs zip off and become shorts. So they have those on. Go, with your short sleeve shirt or whatever, because the second that sun comes up, it's going to be into the high 60s, 70s, 72, into the 75s quite quickly, and be very, very comfortable. So that's temperatures. The other reason I like May in Southern Africa is because the rains have ended in really around about the beginning of April. Some areas perhaps just into the middle, the first week of April or so. So everything is still very green. And, one of the questions that I get a lot is, well, when everything is green and the grasses are high, doesn't that make it more difficult to see the animals? The answer to that is simply no. First and foremost, you're on a vehicle that is quite elevated, so it's very easy to see in the grass. And the last time that, grass is high as an elephant's eye, I've never actually seen that. The grass might be up to the elephant's knees or so on, but elephants, all these animals are very large, even lions and so on. They're large, they're moving around, they're very easy to see. So that is a misnomer, and it really is not an issue at all at that time of year. One of the other reasons I like May is because not all animals, but some animals choose to have their babies in a time of abundance. And a time of abundance would, of course, be the rainy season. So rainy season is from December as I mentioned, through to the beginning of April. So by the time we get to May, those babies are now 3, 4, 5 months old. Leopards particularly, predators generally, the mothers are starting to teach them to hunt. The mothers are less protective of them. The babies are much more active. And who doesn't love to see baby animals? Now, that's not to say that if you go other times of the year, you are not going to see babies. Many species, lions, giraffes, elephants, zebras, and by the way, in Africa, we do call them zebras, not zebras. Zebras, they have babies all year round. So if you go in September, you're going to see babies. I can't guarantee what they'll be, but you will see them. But it's just interesting. So that is another reason. And then my fourth reason for May is because of Victoria Falls. So, Victoria Falls, and being in Central Africa, and it's right in the center of Central Africa, being on the Zambia-Zimbabwe border. So whether you're doing Zambia, Zimbabwe, South Africa, Namibia, Botswana, Victoria Falls is readily accessible from any of those countries. And in May, because those rains have ended in April, now the water is all coming down the mighty Zambezi. And, the Victoria Falls is spectacular at any time of the year just because of its shore size. It's massive. It's twice the size, twice the width of Niagara, twice the height of Niagara, which when you look at the cubic volume in difference is many, many fold. But in May, this is water on steroids. It's unbelievable, the power of Victoria Falls. Now, there are some people that will tell you if you go to Victoria Falls in May, because what happens is as it cascades down over the edge of the falls and hits the bottom, it sprays back up again and it creates a second waterfall. There's so much water coming all the way back up that whole gorge. It's incredible. So a lot of people will tell you, well, if you go in May, the volume and the power of the water is so great that the spray coming back up obliterates the falls itself. And that can be true to a certain extent, but it's so amazing to see, and the roar of it and the feet, and you're going to get absolutely drenched. So you're there in ponchos and whatever. Is so spectacular that time. I just love it all. So when I put all of those things together, and because winter starts in June, May is actually, it's this 4-week period that a lot of people see as almost a shoulder season, because it's kind of, the rains were just before that. Winter starts in June, and Cape Town can be quite chilly in June. In fact, it'd be quite miserable because they get a second kind of rainy season, but only in Cape Town. They've got these 4 weeks where a lot of people just choose not to go because they don't think it's going to be so great. And for me, it's the perfect time of year to go. So that's Southern Africa. And I'll be much more brief on East Africa because East Africa peak period is really June, July, August into the very beginning of September. The rainy season in East Africa is from January, February into March. My pick for East Africa is November.